SIRC 2026, Professor Ranganashalika, Professor in Tourism Management, Sabaragamo University, Professor Lalit Gunawardana, Professor in IT, University of Sri Javadanapura, Dr. Krishani Anuradha Jayasinghe, Director Academic and International Affairs of Saegis Campus, Mr. Navoda Kotugoda, Dean Faculty of Computing and Technology, Ms. Yamuna Fernando, Dean Faculty of Management, Humanities and Social Sciences, Dr. Esmond De Silva, the Registrar of Saegis Campus, Ms. Nisha Rai Pasinghe, Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Chatur Karange Bandara, Head of Marketing Saegis Campus, and one of the representatives. Thank you, distinguished guest.
With a welcome address. It is my privilege to invite.
WGD Dharmaratna, Deputy Vice Chancellor of Saegis Campus, Director Academic Affairs, Deans, Heads of the Departments, academic and non-academic staff members, students, representative from our partner universities, members of the organizing committee, esteemed researchers, academics, industry professionals, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor and privilege on behalf of the organizing committee to warmly welcome you all to the fourth annual SAGES International Research Conference, SIRC 2026. This conference has grown into one of the flagship academic events of SAGES campus, bringing together researchers, scholars, practitioners, and industry experts from Sri Lanka and abroad to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and build meaningful collaborations. Over the past 4 years, SIRC has evolved from a promising initiative into an internationally recognized platform that promotes multidisciplinary research and academic excellence. The theme of this year's conference, The World at a Crossroads, Contemporary Challenges and Emerging Pathways, reminds us that humanity is facing unprecedented global challenges from climate change and public health to technological disruption, economic uncertainty, and social transformation. Yet, within these challenges, lie opportunities for innovation, resilience, and sustainable development. Our shared motto, exploring today, shaping tomorrow, captures this vision perfectly by encouraging us to generate knowledge today that will shape a better future for generation to overcome. From. This conference represents more than the presentation of research findings. It provides an opportunity to establish new partnerships, strengthen, strengthen existing collaborations, mentor emerging researchers, and inspire innovative thinking across disciplines. I encourage every participant to engage actively in the technical sessions, panel discussions, and networking opportunities throughout the day. It is my great honor and privilege on behalf of the organizing committee to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the fourth annual SAGES International Research Conference 2026. First and foremost, it is my distinct pleasure to extend very special and respectful welcome to our chief guest and our keynote speaker, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, one of the Sri Lanka's most distinguished academics and an inspiring leader in higher education. Professor, we are truly honored to have you with us today, and we eagerly look forward to your keynote address. Mr. Mandara Disanayake, Chairman of the Sages Campus, I warmly welcome you, sir, for this important event. Your support and guidance and encouragement greatly appreciated. It is my distinct pleasure to extend a very special and respectful welcome to Professor Mohammed Abdul Majid, Pro Vice Chancellor of Canterbury Christ Church University, United Kingdom. Professor, your presence reflects the strong international partnership between our and we greatly value your continued support for research collaboration and academic exchange. I'm equally delighted to extend a special welcome to our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Emeritus, WDG Dharmaratna. Sir, your remarkable academic leadership and invaluable guidance have been instrumental in strengthening research and academic excellence at Saegis Campus. We sincerely appreciate your presence. Prof. Rangana Shalika, Professor Seema Sharma, Professor Lasit Gunawardena, Dr. Mola Rasool. So I warmly welcome you all to the fourth annual Saegis International Research Conference. So thank you very much for being with us today. I also wish to extend a very warm welcome to our distinguished invited guest from Assam Downtown University, India, representatives from our partner universities, distinguished academics, researchers, industry experts, session chairs, reviewers, authors, members of the media, our sponsors, and all participants who have joined us from different institutions in Sri Lanka and overseas. And I warmly welcome deans of the faculties, heads of the departments, director academic affairs, registrar, and chief operating officers, officer of Saegis Campus, and assistant registrars from different faculties, assistant registrar student affairs, and other all the non-academic staff members and academic staff members. To every researcher and presenter, thank you for choosing SIRC 2026 as the platform to share your valuable research. Your contributions are what make this conference meaningful and impactful. Finally, to all our guests, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome you once again to SIRC 2026. We sincerely hope you will have an intellectually stimulating, professionally rewarding, and enjoyable conference. As we officially commence SIRC 2026, I wish you an intellectually rewarding, professionally enriching conference ahead. And once again, welcome to Sage's International Research Conference 2026. Thank you, and I wish you all a successful and memorable conference.
So, moving on to the next item in the agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to invite the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Emeritus Dharmaratna.
Good morning to all of you. I think I have a short speech and no one presentation as prepared earlier, so I'll say a few words first. Our Vice Chancellor, Major General retired Milinda Piris, is unfortunately unable to attend due to unavoidable circumstances. I will say a few words on behalf of the Vice Chancellor too. Senior Professor Sampath Amatunga, former Chairman of the University Grant Commission, Deputy President and Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Saegis Campus, our distinguished keynote speaker today. Mr. Bandara Disanayaka, Chairman of the Saegis Campus. Conference co-chairs, Senior Professor Saman Chandana Ediravira and Ms. Samita Puthupitia. Professor Rangana Shalika, Professor in Tourism Management, Sabaragama University. Professor Lasit Gunawardena, Professor in IT, University of Sri Jagadhanapur. Mr. Mario Vijayawardena, Department of English, University of Luna. All members of the advisory committee members. And International Affairs, Dr. Kishani Anuradha Jayasinghe, Deans of Faculty of Computing and Technology, Mr. Nawoda Kotugoda, Dean Faculty of Management, Humanities and Social Sciences, Ms. Yamuna Fernando, Registrar Dr. Esmond de Silva, Chief Operating Officer Ms. Sarah Epasinga, all heads of the departments, distinguished presenters and researchers, all academic and non-academic staff members, invited guests, members of the organizing committee, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you all. It is both a great honor and a privilege to address you at the 4th Saegis International Research Conference 2026. We started this conference 4 years ago. We successfully continued it for the 4th conference. On behalf of the chairman and the vice chancellor, and on behalf of the entire Saegis community, I extend to each of you our warmest welcome and sincere appreciation for your presence. This conference has become one of the important academic events in Sage's calendar. Over the past 4 years, it has steadily grown into a respected platform where scholars, researchers, professionals, and students come together to exchange ideas, present new knowledge, and build collaborations that extend institutional and national boundaries. Today's theme, as already mentioned, the world at the crossroads, contemporary challenges and emerging pathways, could, uh, could not be more timely. We are living through one of the most transformative period in human history. Around us, we witness rapid technological advancements driven by artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and digital transformation. At the same time, humanity continues to face unprecedented challenges: climate change, environmental degradation, economic uncertainties, geopolitical tensions, public health concerns, cybersecurity threats, and widening social inequalities. These challenges remind us that the future cannot simply be predicted, it must be created. The crossroads at which the world stands today present us with the choice. One path is the continued reaction to problems after they arise. The other is to anticipate change, generate new knowledge, innovate responsibly, and work collaboratively across disciplines and across nations. One mission extends well beyond teaching existing knowledge. We are entrusted with creating new knowledge, questioning established assumptions, encouraging critical thinking, and graduates who will become innovators and entrepreneurs, scientists, educators, policymakers, and responsible global citizens. We are especially honored to our keynote speaker, Senior Professor Sampath Amratunga, one of Sri Lanka's most distinguished academic and higher education leaders. Professor Amratunga's remarkable contribution to university education, research, governance, and national higher education policy have inspired generations of academics and students alike. We are deeply grateful that he has accepted our invitation to share his insight with us today. We are equally privileged by the presence of Mr. Bandar Disanayaka, chairman of Saegis Campus, whose vision, commitment, and leadership continue to strengthen our institution's journey towards academic excellence and international recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage every participant today to engage openly in discussions and inspire one another. Before I conclude, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the advisory committee, the conference organization committee, our reviewers, session chairs, authors, presenters, sponsors, staff members, and student volunteers whose dedication and hard work have made today's conference possible. Finally, I thank every participant for choosing to be part of this event. I wish you all a productive, enriching, and memorable conference. Then I will simple picture. You all have heard about the Big Bang. Here is the first creation. There's more physics there. But first microsecond, first particles, neutrons, protons, and electrons were created. I think you all know in O level. So within first microseconds after the Big Bang. So during the first 3 minutes, first nuclei, hydrogen and helium were formed. First 3 minutes after the Big Bang. Then it took 380,000 years to make the first atom, right? Our body has lots of atoms. Then 200 million years to stars, right? Gas and dust. Then 400 million years, galaxies and dark matter. So other little bit dark energy, I don't want to talk is high level physics a little bit that we know there are lots of energy, we don't know what it is. So next one. I will just go through the few eras. The Big Bang, zero time. Zero time is start from the Big Bang because we don't know any information before that. Unless there was another universe before that. So physics governed everything after 10 to the minus seconds, microseconds. Quarks, initial state. By the way, my thesis was in quarks interaction. So I enjoy reading this one because I work on the first few microseconds, something happened in the universe, but they produce that state in the accelerators now. So this is 10 to the minus 6 seconds. Then the 3 minutes, hydrogen and helium produce. Then the atoms with the first light. The first light. After atom is formed, only the light could pass through. Because before that, it was dark. So no matter how well you produce the telescope, you cannot see beyond that because you need light. So that's why transparent universe, about 380,000 years. So we can get information by telescopes, Hubble's or whatever telescopes, backward 380,000 years in history. The universe became transparent, first light, today's cosmic wave background. This is a very important discovery. Still, people find those light created at that time with the right frequency. So then the birth of stars, 200 million years. It took 200 million years. So the gravity pulls atoms, made huge gas clouds, collapsed together. Temperatures reach at 15 million centigrades, produce nuclear fusion, then start to build in, producing these other atoms. Hydrogen mostly 92%, and carbon, oxygen, everything. This is the combustion in the present sun. So everything in our body was once inside the stars. So that's why Carl Sagan said, we are made of stars. So you won't believe that. If the stars were not there, we were not here. It is not only the stars were there. See the next one. Birth of heavy elements. So inside the stars, it do the nuclear reactions and produce certain atoms up to iron. Beyond iron, like gold, uranium, copper, silver, it doesn't produce in the stars. It produces in supernova explosion. So without supernova, there would be no planets, no oceans, no humans, because heavy atoms heavier than ions are produced by the supernova explosion. Now I think most of you are wearing a gold ring, a gold chain bracelet. But do you know that those gold were created by supernova explosion? Otherwise, you won't have any gold or any heavy elements. So can you play this? Just want to show you the supernova explosion. Might have seen on internet. I hope it won't take much time. Is it okay? Thanks. That's what was happening. Early universe, there were lots of supernova, now very rare. So this is the important in the supernova explosion in the early universe was very important. So just 4.6 billion years, a giant molecular cloud collapse forming the photoplanetary nebula. This is how the planetary system works. The sun surrounding the sun, this dust and gas collapse together, and it formed the planets and the key component of molecular essentials to life, like phosphorus also made at that era, which was required for the life. So why is Earth so special? Earth occupies the habitable zone, exactly the right distance from the sun. Venus 460 degrees too close, Mars is 60 degrees too far. Earth is around 15 degrees centigrade if you look at the outer space. And it has liquid water, suitable atmosphere, magnetic field, plate tectonics. So all these, can you believe that how these things were created at the right moment? Right? So how rare is Earth? Consider the conditions simultaneous required stable star. Sun is luckily stable enough. It has energy for 10 billion years. Now 4.6 billion is gone. Correct. Moon, plate tectonics, magnetic field, liquid water, oxygen atmosphere, carbon cycle, long-term climate stability. We all have these things granted. Don't worry, we don't ask how it happens. Whether intelligent life exists elsewhere remains unknown. Still, we have talked about the unknown intelligence out of space, but no evidence yet. Evolution of life 3.8 billion years ago has taken a long time. Started with a single cell organism, photosynthesis, oxygen atmosphere, multicellular organisms, fish, dinosaurs, mammals, and humans. 300 years of human history. So now this is the question now. What would be the probability of creating the earth and humans starting from the Big Bang? So nobody knows. It's negligible. Right? That is why we should think little bit about the earth and the land. What are the effects of human activities on earth? Then we'll go to the other part. What are the effects of human activities? The anthropisms. Human activities now influence the climate, oceans, forests, atmosphere, biodiversity. Earth has entered a new era. The challenge is no longer scientific understanding alone, but applying that knowledge to save the earth. So if you look at the climate challenge, greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen oxide, global warming leading to floods, droughts, heat waves, sea level rise. Now this is the Sri Lanka, the world map. Sri Lanka is somewhere there. It is. This is what happens to the carbon dioxide. 2002, 374 parts per million, and 2022, 419 parts per million. This color map shows that the color. So this is the NASA climate time. Both these I got from NASA climate time machine. You can go and check other parameters. I pick up only these two. So the red color showed heat gained. This is in 2016 to 2020. This is 1955 to 1959. So you can see blue means heat gains, and the red color means more heat and high temperature. So this is the climate change. It's happening. So this is in Sri Lanka. Forest, the factor I mentioned, Earth's life support system. So the forest absorb carbon dioxide, produce oxygen, regulate rainfall, preserve biodiversity, protect soils, recharge groundwater. The standard for a healthy ecological balance is minimum of 33%, one third of a country's total land area in the forest and trees here. So if you take the map of Sri Lanka, this is 1959, 44% green and the forest. 1933, 1999, down to 30%. This one recent one I found 2017, 29.7. This is the requirement. So we are below the required level of green in the country. So these are, I mean, we see now when you cut a tree, you have to think about like cutting your nerve. I mean, some, I don't know what you cut in your body when you cut in a tree. Maybe you are cutting the future of your grandsons and grandchildren. So water, that's also not good. The next global crisis, only 2.5% Earth's water is fresh. Is less than 1% is easily accessible. So we have to protect rivers, streams, reservoirs, wetlands, groundwater. Clean water is as valuable as clean air. Now this is going to be a big problem. Now we are getting water in bottles with another problem, the plastic. So this is, I just checked, there are lots of study done. This is one of the plot. It says the salinity of water, surface water around Sri Lanka. So it should be, it is much lower than 750 microsiemens second required for good drinking water. The best one is here, 180, 250 in this area and maybe 2 spot there. You can see in Sri Lanka in this, this was actually I got from one of the publications from the government publication. So these are the problems now. So we might survive, but future is at risk. So pollution. So this is what is happening. Picture I downloaded. It's a southern beach somewhere. So the plastic pollution is a word is cut off here. Plastic pollution here. So globally, every year, millions of tons of plastic enter oceans. Microplastics now occur in rivers, oceans, soil, food, drinking water, and as well as in fish also now. Sri Lanka plastic waste generated per year 250,000 tons. Unmanaged plastic waste 171,561. That is 69% of the plastic we get are not managed. Right? So this is from the Ministry of Environment Sri Lanka publication. Sri Lanka ranks 5th in global ocean plastic pollution with 1.59 million metric tons plastic annually into the ocean. So you have to think about these environmental effects that we are doing, humans are doing this to the beautiful earth. What can Sri Lanka do? We should set the national priorities, restore degraded forest, protect river catchments, protect unpolluted resources. We still have unpolluted water. We have to protect them. Reduce plastic waste, expand renewable energy, promote electric mobility. Actually, I did not put fossil fuel is another danger that we use. We burn oil, right? When the USA bombed Iran, when they burned the fuel, when you see the dark smoke going out, you have to see nobody, I don't know, they worry about the environment. Improve waste management, that is the plastic, encourage sustainable agriculture, strengthen environmental education. This is very important. Education in the schools syllabus. I think any teacher should talk about these type of things in their classes, regardless of the subject matter. I think Mr. Pandar and I also can give this type of message, huge number of students in their classes. Support scientific research. This is also important. Now, I attended one conference in Sri Lanka. Everybody is saying we don't have equipment to test and measure the quality of water. I was not the expert on that subject. But then at the end, I stood up and said, if you cannot test, then preserve the unpolluted water. So I think I gave you some idea why the earth is important. So how delicate the production of the earth. So we are all here because thanks to the nature. It is the beauty of the nature. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. I quote this again. We borrow it from our children. Protect your home for future generations. Thank you. By the way, today is the Friendship Day, so you all enjoy the conference. Try to build new friendship through the research. Friendship built with research is very strong. Thank you.
So thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor, for those valuable words. Earth is one of the unique creation that we have been experiencing. And one thing that I could recall is sustainability. So we are doing actions which are never been sustainable. And the presentation is an eye-opening for all of us that sustainability matters in our day-to-day life. Thank you very much, Professor.
With that, we are privileged to have with us today a distinguished academic leader representing one of our valued international partnerships with Canterbury Christchurch University, United Kingdom. To introduce the Pro Vice Chancellor of Canterbury Christchurch University, let me warmly invite Head of the
Professor Mohammed Abdul Magid, Pro Vice Chancellor of Canterbury Christchurch University, United Kingdom, person who has been there as a mentor, a, a reach point, a support for a very long period of a collaboration that we are having with Canterbury Christchurch University. Let me share a few words of Professor. Professor Abdul Magid is a Pro Vice Chancellor for Education, Student Growth, and Global Engagement at Canterbury Christchurch University, United Kingdom. He joined the university in 2020 and has more than 30 years of experience as an engineer, as an academic leader, as an educator, and guess what? As an entrepreneur. He has held senior academic positions at several UK universities and has led major initiatives in STEM education, digital skills, innovation, and university industry collaboration. His work has also secured nearly a £15 million of external funding. Professor Abdul Magid is an internationally active researcher with an expertise in digital technologies, future network, Industry 4.0, and digital transformation. He holds a PhD in electronic engineering and is a fellow and a senior member from multiple professional institutions. It is our great pleasure to welcome Professor Abdul Magid on stage. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for the nice introduction. Our distinguished guests, colleagues, and our friends, good morning. It is a pleasure and privilege to join the International Research Conference today. I had the privilege of being involved in this initiative right from the start. And last year, I was able to attend in person, and my apologies for not being with you in the room today. I would have loved to, but hopefully next time. So last year, in this very room, I spoke about digital transformation, and we concluded that digital transformation is not just about buying technology or introducing more automation. It is really about people, societies, and creating value. And 1 year later, the question has moved on a bit. So technology is already transforming education, work, societies. So the question now is, will we shape this transformation wisely together. And that is why this year's theme of this conference, The World at Crossroads, is very timely and significant. And being at crossroads is not simply about being at a place of uncertainty. It is more about being at a place of choice. And universities cannot just stand there as observers. We create knowledge, we educate people, and we influence institutions. We help societies decide what can be done, but also, more importantly, we help societies decide what should be done. The question, therefore, is not what is happening to education. The question is, what kind of education do we want to choose to build together for the future? And this question is quite important for Sri Lanka, in my view. Sri Lanka's greatest strength, in my opinion, is the knowledge, resilience, and capability of its people. Sri Lankan talent is already contributing across the world. The next opportunity is to connect this talent more strongly to global networks while creating greater opportunities for people to innovate, lead, and build from within Sri Lanka. The ambition should not only be to prepare people to succeed wherever life takes them, it should also be to enable them to participate in world-leading work right from within Sri Lanka, then move internationally when they choose, and return and bring knowledge back. So mobility, as we move forward, become a circulation of knowledge, not a one-way leakage of capabilities outside. Colleagues, we are living in a time of extraordinary contradictions. The world has never been more connected. Knowledge can move across borders instantly, and students and researchers can collaborate across disciplines and continents. And artificial intelligence can make powerful capabilities more widely available to the masses than ever. But despite all this, the world is becoming more fragmented, unfortunately. Climate, health, technological and economical challenges are global challenges. While many responses to these global challenges remain divided by countries or institutions or sectors, we have more ways to communicate across the world than ever before. But communication does not necessarily automatically produce shared understanding. So technologies do not just automatically generate the wisdom in the societies that we need. And no university can address these challenges on its own, nor can any country import solutions that were designed and created for another country and just expect these to work out of the box unchanged. We need global knowledge, but we need local understanding with this global knowledge. And we need international standards, but we need them with very strong local social relevance. And we need connections, but these connections must be bilateral and reciprocal. And the widespread of artificial intelligence makes this even more urgent, because machines can process information, retrieve information, and generate informations within seconds. And some may conclude that knowledge is therefore less important and less relevant because AI can generate such knowledge very quickly and we can access it very quickly. But in my view, in the AI enabled world, we need knowledge more than ever. But we need knowledge joined tightly with human judgment, a well developed human judgment. Because without such knowledge, how can a student, a researcher, a government official, how can any person judge whether an AI generated answer is accurate, incomplete, or even completely wrong? Without the human judgment, who's going to take the responsibility when an automated decision causes harm or unintended consequences? So technology may help us optimize decisions, but it cannot by itself make these decisions legitimate. And only human beings can legitimize a decision, and only human beings can answer for the consequences of decisions. Machines can't. So the future requires more than just technical skills. It requires, again, and I'm repeating it, it requires very well developed judgment, ethical reasoning, creativity, empathy, and localized and contextualized understanding. It requires people who understand technology, but also understand humanity, ethics, and public value, all held together at the same time. I'll take a pause here and I'll give one small example in education that is close to my heart. Technical and vocational education. So governments are very rightly across the world investing in AI, robotics, and advanced manufacturing, and aiming to transform the technical and vocational education and drive more reproduce an industrial revolution model of education. Young people should explore engineering and AI and design and digital technologies, but we must not fall into the trap that learning to operate a sophisticated piece of machinery is not the same as understanding how it works in depth. And automation removes many routine tasks, but the human role increasingly lies in interpreting information, understanding systems, solving unfamiliar problems, and making safe critical judgments. So the more advanced the technology, the stronger the foundations required in our basic core education in mathematics and science and humanities and judgment. The answer, I would say, is stronger vocational education, education that does not create a false and artificial divide between a university and a vocational training, that keeps the pathways open for students to progress into study, entrepreneurship, research, and into careers that both you and I do not know what they are going to look like in the future. And for Sri Lanka, the opportunity is to go beyond operating technologies developed elsewhere to develop people who can adapt, improve, and create such technologies. This is where globally connected education matters. And our collaboration is an example of this. When we connect institutions together with employers, with policymakers, we can build pathways that combine the strong foundation and help our talent progress through life. Globally connected education should not mean that the knowledge is produced in one location and consumed in another location. That's an old model. Good international partnerships begins with humanity, recognizing that every partner brings knowledge, experience, and insights that other partners do not possess. This conference brings together Saegis Campus, Canterbury Christchurch University, Assam Downtown University, and a significant number of expertise from cross sectors across Sri Lanka, the United Kingdom, and India. It connects academic leaders with undergraduate students and researchers, and it creates a space where ideas can be challenged, evidence tested, and new possibilities explored. This is why this conference is quite important and vital. In my view, research is not simply about producing papers. Research helps us see connections that would otherwise remain hidden from our eyes. Our task, in my view, is not just to predict the future, but to help shape it together. And if we take a step back and look at how we modernize and how we shape the future, I'd say that tagging an AI into a course title does not make this course future ready just by adding an AI to its title. Giving a student a certificate may provide evidence of learning, but it does not necessarily substitute for capability. It has to prove the capability. At this crossroads, Sri Lanka, in my view, is well placed to see itself not as a consumer of global knowledge, but also as a co-creator of global knowledge and opportunities. Colleagues, I congratulate Saegis Campus and all partners for putting this conference together. Special thanks and congratulations to the conference leadership, Saegis leadership that initiated this and brought this together, and all the communities and of researchers who are contributing here today, and all our distinguished guests. May this conference not simply examine the world at crossroads, but also help us make wise choices that will impact the future positively. Thank you so much.
Professor, I remember this the last conference that you were there physically, and we've been talking about the tech and how the tech has been impacting the human life. I remember this one word, few words actually said by the co-founder of Infosys from India. Though the tech has taken a fancy road and though the tech controls the human sense should be needed in order to lead the tech. And thank you so much. And we are already missing you here, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable words.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor, for sharing your valuable insights and your continued support and collaboration with Sages Campus, Sri Lanka. With that, ladies and gentlemen, one of the highlights of today's conference is the keynote address. To introduce the keynote, let me warmly invite the Director of Academic Affairs at Sages Campus, Dr. Krishani Anuradha Jayasinghe, to the podium.
Good morning, distinguished guests, respected academics, researchers, and all. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce our chief guest and keynote speaker, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga, one of Sri Lanka's most distinguished academics and a highly respected leader in higher education. For more than 3 decades, Professor Amaratunga has dedicated his career to advancing higher education, research, and academic excellence in Sri Lanka. Today, he serves as the Deputy President and Deputy Chief Executive Officer of SIRC Campus. Earlier, he served as the Chairman of the University Grant Commission, Sri Lanka, Vice Chancellor of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and appointed twice to the same position at the same university. He also served as the Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and the Chairman of the Committee of Vice Chancellors and Directors of Sri Lanka. In recognition of his outstanding contributions to higher education and his unwavering commitment to ethical leadership, integrity, and good governance, he was appointed as the academic guardian of Olympic values in higher education under the International Ethos Universities framework. Professor Amaratunga built a strong academic foundation through his studies in economics. He earned his bachelor's degree from University of Sri Jayewardenepura and his master's degree from the University of Colombo. Later, he received prestigious Japanese government Monbusho scholarship. He completed his master's degree at Saga University and a Doctor of Philosophy in Rural Economics at Kagoshima University in Japan. As a scholar, Professor Amaratunga has published more than 75 refereed research papers in national and international journals. His research, leadership, and service have earned him many honors in Sri Lanka and abroad. In 2021, His Majesty the Emperor of Japan honored him with the Order of the Rising Sun Gold Ras with the neck ribbon of his outstanding contributions and strengthening relations between Sri Lanka and Japan. More recently, he received the honorary title Sri Sumangala Vidyavattansa in recognition of his exceptional service to education, national development, and society. Professor Amaratunga continues to inspire academics, researchers, and students through his vision, integrity, and commitment to research, innovation, and educational excellence. His leadership has strengthened institutions, encouraged international collaborations, and created new opportunities for future generations. Please join me extending a warm welcome to our chief guest and the keynote speaker, Senior Professor Sampath Amaratunga. Sir, stage is yours.
Morning, uh, Mr. Bandara Disanayaka, Chairman of the Management Council of Saegis, Deputy Vice Chancellor, of course, my very good friend Milinda is not well. He telephoned me yesterday. I texted him that I'm coming. Then couldn't had a word. Then again around 6:30, he telephoned me from the hospital. Sampath, are you coming? I said, yes, I'll be there. I was given the time, 8:45. So, so we'll pray for him for a speedy recovery. And Deputy Vice Chancellor, of course, all are my very good friends. And co-chair of the conference, again, friends, and professor from Sabaragamua, and of course, Professor Lasit from Sri Jayewardenepura Management Faculty. And we have a lot of friends and students, even the computer, all. Yes, I supervise his MPhil. Yes, when I was the chairman, UGC. Yes. So only during that period, I have completed 3 PhDs supervised. Spent many sleepless nights. He studied a very interesting area. It's about agricultural development in North and East. And he published all chapters as well. Then, shall we go to the right? Yes. Samita. Oh, he had a terrible time calling me, and I am not properly answering most of the time. He used to ask, send me the profile, send me the profile. I said, please just tell, was the chairman UGC, that is more than enough. No, 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 we have a culture. We have a culture. I didn't tell her that I also have the same, but because of your chairman, right? But not any arguments, but she was somehow trying to get. So then 2 days ago, I thought, no way, better to send. Yes, better to send. So those things actually we don't sit and write. No, those who need, they have to prepare and get it done. So like that. So I have a profile, short one on web as well. So, but when you ask continuously, it's very difficult, when you, yes. But soon after the PhD, when somebody call you, hello, doctor, it's a big thing, right? But after many years, that become common, and you prefer to be as Sampath Amartunga. I have questioned this from my uh, one of the great gurus, Professor W.D. Lakshman. We were presenting a paper in Japan, so I first presented. Then that was my first presentation soon after my PhD. So I uh, put the title, everything. Then he just presented W.D. Lakshman. So then in the evening, because I speak Japanese as well, he said, Sampath, let's go for a coffee. Then during the meeting, I have asked, why you have not mentioned Sampath? Everybody knows who is W.D. Lakshman. In your case, nobody knows that you have earned a PhD. So we normally speak like that, no? Academia, we say, especially for a student, we openly speak. So like that. So I'm sorry, you have, my goodness, how many text messages even today in the morning. So, okay. So that is, I believe, follow-ups, working and performing, especially in a conference like this, you may have a format. So whoever comes must obey for the culture of that place. Otherwise, your position or whatever is not matters. So you have a very good culture and very good people working in the front. That is what I can tell you. So this is, I believe, your chairman of the governing council fond of uh, seeing the topic, business fluctuations. So this is like our lives. You have ups and downs. You cannot have a straight line from 0 to 100. You never have R squared 100. Never. You get fluctuations. That is the nature. That is the nature. Only thing, we don't talk about fluctuation. We don't like. So this is about, economics. You get ups and downs. So only thing, you have to expect a downturn. If you don't expect a downturn, that's the problem. You are not expecting. Then you don't know what to do. Only when you are declining, you can't go and search policies, what to do, whether go to IMF or bring somebody else or go to the commercial loans. When you have that downturn, you can't do that. And you can't make policies like that. Only thing, you have to sit and study. But this is not in our vocabulary. Only in finance, there are few pages. If the book is consisting 300 pages, only 4 or 5 pages you get only for fluctuation. What is the reason? Because this is a word used by Karl Marx to criticize capitalism. Critic part we don't use, we enjoy. That is the reason. And even in Sri Lanka, literature related to prohibited to bring in era. Do you all know? So this is included in that as well. And most of the books coming from US, if it is business, so we never touch this area. We never go with this. Can we go to the next slide? Here. Okay. Right. So look at this. You get, these are empirical information. How can you have an economy like a straight line? You are expected to have downturns. You can't stop. You can't stop. I am taking this from long waves theory. Definitely you have not heard about it, because this is a core of Marxian quantitative cycle. I taught this in 1990 at Jayawardhanapura Management. At that time, in the final year, my professor criticized me, scolded me. Why you have taught more than 50, 60 hours only about crisis? You can't do like that. He said, no, sir, this is a wonderful area. I have read this widely. So those students who are in the industry and now a lot of people have now retired. Sometimes those who can remember, they say, sir, can you remember you talked about crisis in 1990, 36 years ago. So look at this. You get ups and downs. And also you get some settlement. We'll take the 1960s one first. That is because of computers. International Business Machine, IBM, introduced the computer in 60s. So if you have innovation like such, just you imagine the quality that you can improve in your products with the computer. Just you imagine. That is unbelievable quality. Think about the productivity. It's a kind of a real industrialization. You get new opportunities, new jobs, and those who are working get bonuses, salary increments. That creates prosperity. That creates prosperity. So if you have money, if you earn money, no one keep money at home. You invest. You invest your money. You reinvest your profits. That money comes to the flow. Maybe very controversial. When the economy is open, definitely you get that money. Even that you can't stop. But you to get that black money to the flow. That is not the area I am going to talk. But lack of funding, lack of liquidity creates huge interest rates. If interest rates are very high, you can't expect investments. Without investments, what is the development you are planning? You can't do anything. You can't do. If you are running a private sector oriented economy, you can't have it. Again, when you are having a war, again, I'm not talking about the Sri Lankan context. Wherever you go, right? So in circular flow of income, when you have two just sectors, when there is a leakage, you have to bring back that amount again to the flow. That is simple macroeconomics. That is simple macro. If you don't bring that leakage in the next turn, you will lose production. you will lose production. Somebody need to sit and see what is happening. Those are basic uh, economics or fundamentals. I have told your chairman just 1 week ago, I was watching one of his small clips on social media. She's He's teaching uh, a surplus, just small, simple demand and supply curves. Being a professor of business economics, you just imagine without just clicking the next page. I have listened to that tape. He managed not A level students, even people like me, without moving from his clip, watching to the last minute. That is the ability. That is not the knowledge only. I have told him. Yes. So those are basic things, fundamentals. You cannot leak whatever you have inside. So then again with the tax, when you have a tax, definitely there is a dead weight loss. Equally, you are losing the production. You can't encourage production by taxing. So this is actually different when it is come to prosperity. So according to this uh, empirical evidence, when you start upturn, that goes at least 20 years. And then the peak, it is known as plateau period. It's about 7 to 10 years. Then again, there is a downturn which you can't stop. You can't stop. So everybody expected after this decline, according to the empirical evidence, there will be another upturn which was not taken place. Everybody expected microchip to take the world to the next era, because now scientists are studying to have a small microchip uh, in brain as well. So then when you have this invention, you get the upturn. It's a industrialization. Like once you reach the highest level, there is no solution. But not like 60s. Now I am looking at this screen, not this one, but I want to tell you. And also I have this thing. So same presentation on this as well, on WhatsApp, like a computer. So computer has become common. That is the most dangerous. That is the end of that invention. If it is common. When the technology become common, then everybody use the technology, and that technology cannot take you to the front anymore. You have to have something new. You have to have something new. Now you cannot reject the computer. You have to have a computer, but computer cannot take you further or beyond this level. So money is not the issue. For an example, you have money to buy the next invention, but it's not available. So maybe you are waiting for the next uh, Windows version. It's not available. You have money. You can invest. You can do it, but it's not available. So that is the nature. You cannot change it. So, so according to Karl Marx, when you are in a downturn, he explained this using the social conditions. You don't believe in literature, you can find when you are in a downturn, after a peak like this, they predict alcoholism will increase. Alcoholism will increase. So you have to expect it. Once that going to increase, you can't stop. You can't stop. You have to expect. This is called planning. This is called, developing. Again, in an environment like this, according to that literature, which we don't use, says divorce will increase. Yes, divorce. And again, child abuse, what we are experiencing today. No one will tell you that is because of the crisis that we have. Everybody says this is very bad. Everybody can tell that. Everybody can tell. Not like our days. Because we are in a crisis. This is the feature in a crisis. So what you have to do, you have to somehow manage these issues. So this includes automobile. Just to imagine when you don't have a car, with the transportation, what you can do. Next is the train. Next is the train. With the train, what are the things that you can't do? Right? Even according to Sri Lankan statistics, we have reduced the cost of production of coffee with the introduction of railway. We have reduced by 50%. Within 2 hours, you can bring coffee to the harbor. Otherwise, you have to spend many days. If you get any issues in the climate, bad weather, 100% you cannot export. Just to imagine how inventions can move forward the world economy. Shall we go to the next one? Here. Got this. These are the products in each cycle. But the problem is this. Don't think that we have only one long wave. We have several cycles. That is why we need a good team of economists. Sit and see what is going to happen. You cannot just go and just announce 5%, 10%, 3% taxes. Or what are the industries that we have to bring? I'll tell you one good example. We have imported Japanese vehicles in middle 1970s. We have seen 6-3 Honda Civic cars. It was a hatchback, small car. Then 6-3 Toyota Corolla, 6-3 Mazda Familia, 6-3 Nissan Sunny. So we have started importing them, spread all over the country, not like the before, but at the same time, Japanese government have seen when we started garments, they lost their garments. But they had a industry to just walking, automobile, so on. Korea lost severely because at that time, compared to our wages, Japanese wages are high. Compared to Korean wages, the Korean wages are very low. But they also lost. So Koreans, they went to shipbuilding and also they started what we are having today. We have a lot of Korean vehicles on roads. That is the era they started. But government called Toyota, Nissan, Mazda, Subaru, all these people and said, look, we just started importation of our vehicles. Korea started manufacturing of vehicles. Be careful. In future, after another 25 years, they will produce the same vehicle like ours. Be careful. The only way forward is think about developing the engine, low fuel cost engine. So in year 2000, around that, they have produced Leaf Toyota hybrid. Then Koreans have not touched that. So because of that, when Japanese vehicles consume very low fuel to have a huge mileage, still the Korean vehicles, they use lot of fuel. Even nowadays, when China is going to change the world, they also use the similar face cut. So brand new uh, Land Rovers, more than 100 million, but you can buy electric, looks like a Land Rover, the same face. Maybe you get more facilities for 30 million. But again, Japanese said, don't worry. Don't worry about electric vehicles. Let them go. But just to compete, better if you also put one or two models to the market, electric vehicles. But keep on studying these nitrogen-driven vehicles. They are pumping more money on that to bring to the market. So these are technology-driven systems. So you can see when you have an upturn, even during the upturn, you get small cycles, downturns. You are in an upturn because you get profits, you get productivity, you expand your company. During that, you get downturn. When you are having a downturn, maybe you have another upturn because cycles are like that. So this is what actually I wanted to show you all, because the larger one is 40 to 70 and you get 3 to 4 year cycles as well. This is what you have to manage. So this is the empirical situation. I'm not going into details. This refers to the present day as well. Even now, US textbooks criticize superpower. This is the beauty. Fondatif is a Marxian. Schumpeter is a real classical capitalist economist. He also agreed with that Marxian theory. He is the person who invented the word entrepreneurship, which we use in economics. He's the man. Born in Austria, went to other areas in Europe, and finally become the professor of economics at Harvard, and then he got the American citizenship. So this is about Fondatif, the person who invented this. Is the Schumpeter. He was heavily backed by Walras, another economist. I have studied a subject called Historical and Philosophical Foundations of Economic Thought. Even the topic is very difficult. Historical and Philosophical Foundations of Economic Thought. So if you ask from an economist, Are you a Marxian fan? උත්තර දෙන්න බැරි වුණොත් ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක්. You are not really into the subject. If you talk favorably for perfect competition, then you cannot accept Marxian. Perfect competition is the core for capitalism. But everybody knows if you don't believe perfect competition, you don't get a Nobel Prize even. Marxian economists never get. I am not criticizing, I am openly talking. So finally, that is the main reason why even A.K. Sen wrote when he talked about poverty that he accept perfect competition before the price. So thank you very much inviting me. I wanted to take your different aspect. So crisis is this. So you cannot stop crisis. There is no force. You have to accept. Only thing, you have to predict this. That is like our lives. Today is good, tomorrow may be bad. Maybe not according to the horoscope. But you have to expect. You have to expect. So economies are like that. India went a huge crisis. Manmohan Singh brought an economist to run the central bank from Harvard. Professor of economics at Harvard brought to Indian central bank as the governor to overcome the issue. He nicely planned. He nicely planned. Not only India, after that, then South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong. It's like that. Even today, Japan, they are managing. They are managing. They are managing. Everywhere it's like that. Okay. Thank you very much and all the best.
I realized the life, I saw the world differently through economics. An experience with professor for like 3 years has changed everything. I would proudly say that I am a product of professor and I am honored. I will be honored throughout my life. Thank you very much, professor. And we request you to be there on the stage to receive the token of appreciation, sir.
To present the token of appreciation, I would warmly invite our chairman of Saegis Campus, Mr. Bandara Disanaika, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor W.G.D. Dharmaratna. Thank you, SIRS.
Thank you very much, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, we now come to another important milestone of the agenda. It is the time for us to officially launch the conference proceedings representing the collective scholarly contributions presented at the Saegis International Research Conference 2026. May I respectfully invite
Proceedings. You may go to the stage, please. It's the plenary panel discussion after the refreshments. So we have already arranged the refreshments and the networking sessions. And refreshment serves at the distinct area. We will invite you to join the refreshments.